The history they skipped. Few stories blur the line between myth and history as completely as the Trojan War. For centuries, it was considered nothing more than legend, a poetic invention filled with heroes, gods, and impossible battles. The story most people know comes from Homer's epic poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey. These tales describe a vast war fought between the Greeks and the city of Troy. According to legend, the conflict began with the abduction of Helen, whose beauty was said to launch 1,000 ships. Heroes like Achilles and Hector became symbols of courage and tragedy. But for generations, scholars assumed the entire story was fictional. There was no proof that Troy had ever existed. That changed in the 19th century. An amateur archaeologist named Heinrich Schliemann became obsessed with proving the story was real. Guided by Homer's descriptions, he began excavations in modern-day Turkey at a site called Hisarlik. What he found shocked the world. Beneath layers of soil were not one, but multiple ancient cities, built on top of each other across centuries. Some layers showed evidence of destruction by fire and conflict. Suddenly, the idea that Troy might have existed was no longer impossible. But the discovery raised new questions. Even if a city existed, did a war like Homer described actually happen? Historians now believe that the truth lies somewhere between myth and memory. Ancient conflicts in the region were common. Trade routes created competition between powerful city-states. It is entirely plausible that a real war inspired the legend. However, the epic details, divine intervention, heroic duels, dramatic betrayals, likely evolved through oral storytelling. Stories passed from generation to generation often grow larger than reality. They preserve emotional truth, even as factual details change. The Trojan War may represent a collective memory of conflict transformed into narrative. What makes this story fascinating is how myth and history interact. The existence of Troy does not prove the Iliad is literal history, but it also shows that myths are rarely created from nothing. They often begin with real events, reshaped by imagination, culture, and time. The Trojan War reminds us that history is not always clear-cut. Sometimes it survives in fragments, part archaeology, part storytelling, and part mystery. Perhaps the most revealing question is not whether the Trojan War happened exactly as described, but why humanity continues to tell the story. Because myths help societies understand themselves. They turn conflict into meaning and transform memory into identity. The history they skipped.